We are back, and I'm just gonna make sure I can put you guys safely on the tripod. Hold on, lift you up a little bit. Push this up, and then we'll push back down. Oh, the joys of content creation. But this is real life. Okay, so hopefully you guys will be able to um, come back in. All right, and I do have my fan on, so I will try to speak louder so you guys can hear me. But hopefully the fan is not too disruptive. Now, in true small creator fashion, I do not have a whole bunch of questions that anyone actually asked me. I actually didn't get to post it on my Instagram like I wanted to, so it's fine. So we're just gonna go over a few questions that people actually ask me in real life. So we are going to do that. And before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and delete that first one that came on. Delete that off because we don't want that one. So we want this one. And I wonder, you know what? I wonder if I can like click on my own channel and watch myself. Snap, y'all! Look at that. Okay. So we are going to be discussing the titles. We'll go by like the titles. So pharmacy, nursing school, skincare, and content creation. So we'll start there. So frequently asked questions about pharmacy. I think people, want to know how I got started in pharmacy. That's a frequently asked question. A lot of times in the healthcare field, and this is, more common than what you think, if someone knows someone that is maybe a doctor or a nurse, or in this case, a pharmacy technician and or a pharmacist. A lot of times those people actually knew someone that was that, and that was my case. And so I was actually related or am related to individuals who were pharmacy technicians. I actually grew up watching them become pharmacy technicians, work as pharmacy technicians. And so I knew about the profession. It's funny because, excuse me, it's not something that a lot of people think to do for a job. It's not something that people often talk about. Many times when pharmacy techs finally find each other, we're like, oh, you're a pharmacy tech? That's so cool. Pharmacy techs come together. We all work together in the workforce, but if you ask us how many people we actually know, like outside of work that are pharmacy techs, we don't. So it's really funny because it has a really close relationship to a content creator. So like someone who's a content creator online, a lot of times within their, friend and family realm, they are the only ones. And so really it's a correlation. And so the same thing with pharmacy. And so that's how I became. I became one because I knew one, essentially, right? Now, besides that, the next thing is about pharmacy. Do pharmacy technicians make a lot of money, right? I've made a video on this before, and a pharmacy technician to me is a very modest pay. Unfortunately, it's not nearly as much as a pharmacist, okay? But a pharmacist does go to school for a very long time. And so a pharmacist is actually a doctor of the medications that is being, dispensed throughout the pharmacy. So the technicians are more so assisting the pharmacist in doing their job, right? And so, there's a big pay gap there. So it is a big pay gap, but I do think that being a pharmacy technician is a great job. That's a question. So do you think it's worth it? Yes, I do think it's worth it. I think it's worth it to become one. I think it's worth it to get your certification. It is a job that you will always have. I mean, as long as you follow the rules and don't do anything silly, then you are fine. You are fine. You can work in a hospital setting, you can work in retail, you can work in corporate, you can work in many different places, many different settings, many different hours. It's a really good supplemental job if someone is looking for a part-time job to supplement a full-time income. Unfortunately, that has to happen nowadays. But, if someone needs to do that, I do think that being a pharmacy technician is great for that, for making some extra money. It's also really good if you happen to be supporting a full-time income. So let's say you're married and you're supporting your full-time income. Maybe you're not working full-time at the moment. And so it's really good for parents who are staying at home with their kids, but still want a job, right? So, that could be working part-time and working PRN. So working PRN is really good because again, you get to pick your hours, and you don't have to come in there every day. You can come in there once a week, twice a week. For me, when I'm in school, I usually go to work anywhere from 1 to 2 days a week. When I'm out of school, I'm at work maybe 3 days a week, and so I can switch it up like that, right? Also, people really appreciate you being there when you're PRN. It's always like you're so needed, when you're there, because essentially you're as needed, per diem. And so that is the whole point. So that's the thing I want to say about pharmacy. I feel like, okay, I was eating popcorn. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is live. We cannot edit this out. Okay, so next up, we'll go into nursing school. That's a really popular one. It's also a really good time right now to talk about nursing school, because I feel like right now, a lot of people are going into their nursing semesters, their pre-nursing, whatever the case may be. There are many questions about nursing school, and so many questions to be asked. I think the first question is, did you always want to be a nurse? Yes. How did you navigate going back to school in your 30s? You know what? It's kind of funny because, to be honest with you, I'm not really sure. I mean, it kind of just happened, and it happened so smoothly. There was no pulling teeth. And you know what they say about that? When something, when you don't have to pull teeth, then you're walking in this right direction, right? And so for me, it just fell in place. I mean, to be honest, I worked as a patient care technician at a local hospital to get like the experience and to really see if I wanted to work bedside, to really see what it was really about. And I loved it. I loved it. Now, what I wish, which we'll talk about this on the channel, but what I wish that I would have, known to be more hydrated, more vitaminated, okay? Taking more, that's not a word, guys, but taking more vitamins, So I wish that, and to anyone who's looking into becoming a patient care technician, I do say this on TikTok, I suggest to take care of your health and to really make sure that you are taking those vitamin D's, taking, fish oil, iron, whatever you need, honey, take it, okay? And stay hydrated, because, yeah, you're gonna need it. So those are the things that I'll probably like rewind. If I wanted to go back, I would have been paying way more attention to my internal and micro level health, or my health on a micro and macro level. But yeah, so fell into place. The trial run, I did, PCT for 3 months. Again, loved it. I was told by, many people on the unit that I would be a good nurse. They could see that I really loved helping people, which I do naturally anyway. I've done that even before nursing. And so anyway, that was that. And what I really loved was just like hearing people's stories and like seeing them heal. Like, I worked on a unit where people would get surgery. They would stay there for a couple of days and they'd get rehab and they'll be out of there, right? And so it was really cool to see the progression of everything. I mean, to be honest, guys, seeing somebody from anesthesia all the way to like this, like we're talking right now, it's amazing. I remember one time there was a patient, and this is a quick tip, guys. When you're talking, remember healthcare and HIPAA, right? When you're talking about experiences, always just say a patient and they. Never specify, okay? But anyway, it was a patient, and I remember seeing the patient come in tremendous pain. And you couldn't even make out what the person looked like, right? Because they were in so much pain and making so much noise that we all had to rally around that bed to get them settled, because what had happened was, they had injured themselves really badly, right? And so it was so funny is that literally like 3 days later, I'm working, in the same unit, and I see a patient come out of a room walking, and I'm like, what is going on? What are you doing? No, you can't get out of the bed, And you know what? It was that same patient. But I could not tell the difference, because what the person looked like in agony is not what they look like in better health. Okay? That right there was amazing to me, because it really just shows how pain can really change the demeanor and the behavior of a human being. Like, it really can. And how the absence of pain can really also have such an impact on the positive nature of a human and their behavior. And so anyway, that was really cool. So it's like really cool seeing stuff like that. Just happen every day. I have to say that bedside, although being very tiring, very draining, bedside is fun. Fun in the sense that, and don't get me wrong, I do think it is stressful. I remember I'm talking about a patient care technician, not a nurse. I'm pretty sure the bedside nursing is, from what I saw, very stressful. So, but as the assistant, I was still working really hard, but the thing about it is that it was always exciting. That's what I'm looking for, exciting, because you never knew what you were gonna get. It was like that I loved. Every day was something different, something new, right? So anyway, that is that about nursing. So yeah, I always wanted to be one. It kind of happened naturally in a way that was very convenient for me and my family. And then I just went through it, guys. Like I took my time though. I didn't rush because I am an adult, so I do have a life, a family, and so I did take only 2 classes per semester. That way I could keep a really high GPA. And so I ended up coming out with about a 3.7 GPA in pre-nursing, and that's how I got accepted into the nursing program. I loved pretty much all of my classes. They were not easy, but they were not impossible. They're finished, they're done. What happened to them? They went like the wind. I mean, it goes so fast. So if you're thinking about it and you have the time and the circumstances, just know that it will pass. Those 15 weeks each semester will pass by so fast. And it's all, the pre-nursing is there to get you ready for your TEAS exam or your HESI, whichever one that your school takes. That's what it's there for. So really get into that chemistry if you have chemistry, and really get into that anatomy and physiology, right? Even if you don't have chemistry as a requirement, I would suggest studying that anyway, because it will be on one of those tests, HESI or TEAS. And I've talked about that on the channel. Those videos are on the channel. So anyway, that is nursing. And I think people want to know, was anatomy and physiology easy or hard? Anatomy and physiology is neither easy or hard. Anatomy and physiology is content heavy. That's what people will tell you. It's not difficult. It is content heavy. The information is not difficult. The information is you. You're talking about the human body. You're talking about yourself. What's difficult is finding the time to stuff the content in your head. What's difficult is finding the way in which you learn to stick, to adhere the information to your head. That is what's difficult. The information in itself is not difficult. It makes sense. It's perfectly logical. It's God's creation, okay? And so I do think that those questions are a very interesting question, because it's not a matter of hard and easy. It's a matter of being organized. It's a matter of knowing how you learn, right? So that's what I always say. I say it's content heavy. Nursing school, pre-nursing school is content heavy. So you have to be ready to have loads of information packed on your head, okay? It's heavy to carry physically, and it's a lot of information. So to be honest, mentally, you need to be in a good spot, because your brain is gonna have to empty out, because it's gonna have to introduce new stuff. Okay, and that's gonna happen. So we can count on that. All right. So yes, I want to say it's possible, and I want to say that it's content heavy, and that goes for every class across the board: anatomy, physiology, microbiology, English, math, whatever the case may be. And so I do think that people need to have time for these things. That's my biggest suggestion. And over on TikTok, on my mini podcast for nursing, I talk about that. I talk about, the different learning styles. I kind of talk about, I talk about it in like really small conversations that you can digest easily, and talking about some of the things that people kind of brush over, because once you have been in pre-nursing, you sometimes forget the things that you actually did, right? So there's that. All right, so the next thing we're gonna get into, I'm trying to think anything about nursing schools, pricing and different things like that. Just know that in some states, depending on where you live, there are scholarships, there are grants, there are ways to acquire a nursing degree. It's usually by associate, okay? Maybe not bachelor, right? But by associate, there are ways to acquire this degree at no cost to you. And so look that up in your state. Look it up and see what you can find. See what kind of financial aid you can find, different things like that, trying to really minimize the amount of debt, acquired from getting your education, if any at all. And so, yeah, definitely look into that. Okay, I'm trying to think anything else about nursing school. Again, all these videos are on the channel. So I've covered so much in detail, and I go through each and every semester. So you can go in there and get in those deep dives and really figure out, your electives and different stuff like that. I talk about all my electives, all the things that I was required to take. It's all there. But I do think it was fun. I think it was content heavy, and I do think it is possible. So I think that you definitely have this, and with enough focus and concentration and organization, it'll get done. All right, so move on to skincare. Now, here's the thing. YouTube is great, right? However, YouTube is not, YouTube and my skincare content, they're not quite friends yet. YouTube is like, hey girl, we like your pharmacy content, we like your nursing content. We like that. The people want that. But here's the thing. When you're a content creator, you have to do something that you like, whether people watch it or not. It has to be something within your content pillars, right? And so for me, that happens to be skincare. I love skincare, and actually skincare goes, it ties in so well, with pharmacy and nursing, because with nursing, we're talking about the integumentary system, skin, okay? Skin, hair, and nails. And then with pharmacy, hello, people go get prescriptions for medication for their face all the time. So I think it's a perfect match. But I need the robot, the algorithm to understand that. So, if you are into skincare, if you've ever had acne, if you currently have acne, and I'm talking about mild acne, I'm talking about acne that is caused by either hormones or, overactive sebum that's on the face, like the facial oil and stuff like that. If you have this type of acne, and you're in your 30s or late 20s or whatever, even entering your early 40s, then my content is specifically for that. If you have combination dry skin, my content is for that, right? Because I am one who, if you go back to my skincare videos all the way back, you will see the spots on my face, right? But now when you come up to my new videos, they're not there. And while I do, edit, and I do, make my videos look a certain way, a certain aesthetic, I don't do too much. So what you see is what you see. What you see is my skin. And so I was able to clear my skin up, right? With the knowledge of ingredients, the knowledge of research, how to research, really going through watching YouTube videos and reading articles and stuff like that, and just knowing like who to learn from, visiting dermatologists, esthetician. I talked about that in the very first live. And so the skincare content is really good because I'm really sharing like my journey of how I got rid of the dark spots that we all do not like because nobody wants to walk around with dark spots on their face. Like, they really don't. I didn't. So I had to get rid of those things. So I had to get serious. I had to get serious, and I had to get focused. And what that meant was developing a routine that I did day and night, like every day. I didn't let up to the point now where my skin is clear, and I can kind of let up a little bit. I got a little bit of freedom, a little bit of room, not to do all the things every single day, but I still do something every single day. And so, the skincare content is really good too, because I'm also sharing products, and not just any old product, good products, things that truly work for combination to dry skin that is maturing. Because as we age, our skin does thin. So we're trying to age well. We're trying to find things internally and externally that help us to build collagen and build elasticity, to hold on to what we have. And that's the point of me doing the skincare content. So the skincare content is here to stay. So although the algorithm may not know what to do with it just yet, she's staying, because she's helpful. She's helpful, and it's something that I am truly into and I truly do enjoy. Also, from an income standpoint, it's a way for me to gain income from affiliate linking, right? So while it costs you no extra money to buy from my link, it does help me to keep the channel going. And so, with the nursing content, the pharmacy content, I also have things for that. I have, some apparel and different things like that. And I have an ebook coming for the pharmacy. I already have 2 e-guides for the nursing. And so we're just like building up on that. Because when you build a business, we're just going to segue. I can't talk. We're going to segue right into being a content creator. So when you do have this platform online, you do want things to make money externally from you. So you do want things to, be able to help someone without you actually talking, okay? I have talked a lot this week. Like, I talk at work, and I've talked on here, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I love to talk. Talking is me. Me is talking. I love to talk. So if you can't tell. So, Anywho. That's that. So that's the whole thing about nursing. That's the whole thing, my whole spiel on skincare and why skincare will stay. And who knows, you guys, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Fashion, once upon a time on this channel, when I first started some years ago, I did try all the things. I tried vlogging, I tried all the things. And I also tried a fashion video. Do you know that that fashion video actually did take off? It was a modest fashion video, and it probably got the most views out of the vlogs, which is really funny. Anyway, it's not up anymore. But the point is that fashion is really, it's really a quick way to grow. It really is. And to be honest, but income wise, it's very good because the affiliate linking is plentiful. It's going. My problem is that I am not necessarily into fashion like that, because the fashion that I like is not fast fashion. The fashion that I like is quality fashion, and the fashion that I like is not $5, right? And so therefore, and don't get me wrong, my wardrobe is not luxury by any means. But what I'm saying is, if I was to, if I was to be sharing fashion content, I want it to be cute, right? I wear the same thing every day. I wear the same thing all the time. So my closet, yeah, no. I've tried it again. It works on Instagram. People like it, but I'm like, no, I don't, because this is not what I want to create in this moment. I know that possibly in the future I might want to venture into that when I actually have maybe some extra income to really pour into that type of content, right? So you want it to be right. And so right now, what I can reasonably do, what I've already done for myself, just clear my skin, is something I can actually share with my audience. And it is something that's also knowledge and product based, right? So it's not fashion, but it's skincare, and I can make a whole lot of content on that. So that's the thing. All right, so moving on to the last thing, which is content creation. And so there was a live that we did, I think it was Wednesday at 12 o'clock. And I'm trying to decide if I want to make that something consistent, because I feel like that was really nice. People really enjoyed that. We kind of sat down, went through what I wanted to do for the day. And to be honest, I enjoyed that. It's almost like I'm like a little assistant, Now, it'd be more fun when people actually like come to the live and comment. But, it's fine. You have to start somewhere. But I do think it'd be nice to have like a coffee and create or something like that, on Wednesdays when I'm actually creating content on Wednesdays. So anyway, or whatever day, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, whatever. So with content creation, how did that come about? Yeah. Okay, so fun fact, which you guys may not know, is that I started my business in my head some time ago. So I knew back in 2019 that I wanted my own business. I have always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've always wanted my own business. I wanted it in my 30s, okay? And I've always envisioned myself being someone who owned a business. Now, again, as we talked about before, well, how did you come up with that? Well, I come from people who are entrepreneurs. Like, I grew up around people who were entrepreneurs based off of their skill set. So I've watched people make money from their hands, their 10 fingers, right? As far as artistry is concerned. And so entrepreneurship is something that I always wanted for myself. I still want for myself. I've had for myself. So what I did was I had these ideas in my mind in 2019. I was like, I want a brand where I can have a product, and then I want a brand where I can like write blogs, right? And so, when the age of social media, blog writing is still a thing, but we were getting more into the whole Instagram thing back then. So now we're talking about like 5 years. So around 2020, which is interesting, we all know what happened in 2020. So around 2020 is when everything happened, just like many other creators, to be honest. And a lot of creators who were already creating in 2015, they actually got popular in 2020. And people like me actually just became creators in 2020, right? So there was different levels to this. So anyway, in 2020 is when I really started to think about what I wanted to do for the brand. I started to do some graphic design. I started to figure out that I could help people by designing things for them. And so that's what I did. And what's so funny about me is that when I learn about something, I learn, I learn. And so there are a few creators I'm not going to name by name, but if you're watching this, you may know them too. They're over on Instagram, but they had like classes and courses. And what I did was, there was one in particular. I don't know her in real life, but her personality type was a lot like mine. And I followed what she did. I saw that she had a podcast. She had a blog, she had a website, she had an Instagram, she had a YouTube, she had all the digital outlets, right? The different media streams. And I said, well, that's what I should do. And I did. So I actually went ahead and started the blog like I wanted to. That blog. I started writing that blog on a website builder. What was that website builder? I think it was called something with a W. Wix. That's what it was. So I started building my website on Wix, and I remember my very first website, and that was cool, right? And so I've had many after that. But what I found out was that not only did I like writing blogs, but I like to design websites. And I was pretty good at it. And so over time, I took a few courses on website design, and then there goes the business. I went ahead and got the legalities out of the way, LLCs, trademarks, all the things I needed for both of my businesses. And I was able to open up the By Monique digital marketing agency within that 5 years. And it went really well, actually. I wanted to make money from it, and I did. And I started by charging people $5, y'all. Like, I charged $5 for like a podcast. I remember the very first podcast cover I did. For a creator, and that was because I was in a community. And here's another thing too, I want to stress this. A lot of people will like roll their eyes at like coaches and communities online and stuff like that, and the pricing. Now remember, back then people were just getting started, so a lot of these little communities and things were like $15 a month, $20 a month, and now everybody's evolved and they're charging more money. But the good thing about these communities is that they will give you a community. So I remember the very first strategy call I had. Again, if y'all want to talk about this, y'all want to hear about this, there's a podcast. So I have a podcast. It's called By Monique. It is up on Apple, Spotify, my website's everywhere. And I have about 6 seasons. And that kind of goes through my whole digital marketing agency journey, how I started, right? And it's really like a story time. So you can go and watch that. So I won't tell everything here. But I do remember the very first strategy call that I ever had. And one thing she told me, she said, you know what? You just keep on posting. She said, because the people who are for you, they will find you. And she could not have been more right. When I tell you that I was able to work with some amazing business owners, doing websites, doing Pinterest design, Pinterest formation. I would do that. I would build Pinterest accounts out for brands. I would build Amazon accounts out for brands. I did 2 of those. I would build websites. I had so much fun. I did everything from, bloggers to, younger ones who were, starting to blog as well. And so it was just interesting. It was so fun. And I actually produced 2 podcasts for clients as well. And so, that was really nice because that was a really good time. I made good money doing that. And I wish to, with the direction that I'm going now with my business and my agency, is I wish to do the exact same thing over again, but with me as the client, right? So while I do still help clients, I do still have a one-on-one creator consultation, which I do offer. I don't do the work. So I used to do the work. Like, you used to pay me the thousands to do the work, okay? But that's not what I do now. That type of work is really fun, but I will tell you this, it is very time consuming. I worked around the clock, and I did it all. I did the website design. Like I said, I did the SEO. SEO is one of my main money makers. Did a lot of search engine optimization for clients. And that SEO is still serving them to this day. And that is one of the most beautiful things about being a creator in a digital marketing agency, is that you get to see the work that you thought of, the work that was in your head. It almost brings tears to my eyes, to be honest. I get to see that every day. I get to see what I put together for my clients every day when I go on Amazon. It's still there. It hasn't changed. I get to see photography I've done for brands. I get to see websites. They're still there. This is the artistry in my head onto an online site. Wow, that is so cool. And so I really enjoyed that. And I think that it's a great way to make extra money if you're trying to work from home and you do have a niche for that. If you don't, then it's not for you. But if you already have a design You just have a DNA for design. I happen to have that. I've always been a really creative person, and it just came out digitally. Like, it was like, oh well, I can do this and I can do that. This is really cool. So now that I've had the experience with other clientele, now I'm using everything that I learned for myself in my own website, my own businesses, and my own brand, right? So I still wish to work with other creators, but more on a consulting level, to where I can then, share with them how to get things done and how to do things themselves, even because I've done everything myself. So this brand is called By Me Monique for a reason. The reason it's called By Me Monique is because everything is by me. That is the point. By Me Monique, right? So people always like, why that? And it's like, that's why, because everything that you see is out of my head. Like, seriously. So anywho, that's like a little background there. But moving into this phase of content creation. So after, working and making money and learning about working with clientele and things like that, now I was like, I want to pivot. I want to pivot because, number one, I'm in nursing school. Okay. I want to pivot too because I want to be a content creator. I want to do this. I've always wanted to be the content creator, but I was too scared at first. I just became the behind the scenes person. So now I'm like, okay, well, I want to be the content creator now. So how does that work out? What does that look like, for me? And what do I want to talk about? And y'all, it's a journey because you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to be honest with yourself and think about what you want to share with people who do not know you, essentially. People who know nothing of you. What do you want to share with these people who are going to see you on the internet? You don't know who's watching you. I don't know you. So I think like 4 people in here right now, and no one said anything, or I can't see it come up. But yeah, so I just think it's just interesting because you have to think about a persona that you want to present, and you can make it anything you want. And so for me, I've been through iterations, and more iterations, right? Still going through iterations on Instagram because me and Instagram, we can't figure each other out. Really can't. I don't think anyone can, to be honest. Well, people can. There is a strategy, there is a method, but you have to be really dedicated. I found that it's so much easier for me to grow over on TikTok. I really just started those accounts probably like 3 months ago, and literally within 3 months, I have about over 100 supporters over on the mini podcast by Me Monique, and then the Carrot Cocoa page is like my natural hair page. That's growing slower, but that's because that's a very saturated market. However, it's still a very good market. So I'm still going forward with that, but I'm just trying to figure out how I want to go about that, where I'm still figuring those things out. Same has been yes, hey Sarah, yes, it has been confusing. It's confusing too because I think sometimes as creators we're confused. I think sometimes we're confused because we see this work for this person and that work for that person, and it's just like, well, what works for me? So it's just one of those things that you kind of have to figure out, and we will. Because the same way that I figured out how to make 5 digits in a marketing agency, the same way I'll figure out how to make it again. So just believe that. Just believe that. It's coming together. It is all coming together. But I think it's beauty in patience. I think it's beauty in waiting, and taking your time to really figure out. Because what if you went viral for something that you don't want to be known for? What if you went viral for something that you really don't even like, right? So I never wish that for myself, right? I always wish to create things I want to create. And one thing I say too, I don't want to rush a whole bunch of like content over quality, because quality I can always repost, but just quantity, what can I do with that? It's just wasting my phone space, right? So there's a balance. But yeah, and getting back to, just for a second, getting back to community, I do think, okay, so since I've been a content creator, I have been a part of 3 communities. So the very first community was the one I told you about, which the one that she told me, hey, your tribe is going to find you. The second community I was a part of is a very popular creator that we all know. I'm not going to say any names, but I was a part of her first, sets of cohorts. And I will say that being part of her community did give me clientele. Not all the clientele worked out, and that's okay. But honey, it put money in my pockets, okay? Community. And I'm never going to say you can do it all by yourself, because why would you, right? I can definitely say from that membership, I probably gained, let me see, 1, 2, 3, I want to say I probably gained about 3 clients, one of which I've helped multiple times. Again, put money in my pocket. Put money in my pocket. I paid $20 a month and end up getting probably 10 times that. So I could do the math there, 20 times 10. So yeah, it's worth it. I mean, if you can make it happen. The third community was really cool too. Third community, loved it. It was really nice. That was my last community that I was a part of, $20 a month. And I think from that did I get clients from that? Yes. Well, the actual person who ran the community, she was a client. Literally, I put $20 in a month and ended up coming out with, again, 10 times. So, and it's because you go into these communities intentional. You go into network. You want people to know how you can help them, how they can help you. That's the beauty of it, right? And so I do think that going forward, I mean, I don't know which one I want to be a part of next. I kind of do, but I'm just kind of like sitting like on the wall watching right now to see what she's gonna do. So we'll see. But everything she does is, she's really good at her job at being a content creator, and she's now opened her community back up, or not open it back up, but I guess like advertise it. So I'm looking at it, but you know, we'll see. I'm not gonna make any major hoops, but just yet. But I do think that it's worth it. It's worth it. So if you're thinking about it, you see somebody that you like, that you vibe with, you think you would like the community, the people who actually like them, then yeah, I think it's totally worth it. Like I said, I've been a part of 3 and every last one of them has been beneficial. It really has. So yeah. So I think taking time and stuff like that. So for me, where I am right now, and we'll wrap this up, but for me, where I am right now, my content creation journey, so far, guys, I have to be honest, everything is going really, really well. It really is. I have been accepted into the LTK program, which is Like to Know It, which is a very important platform for affiliate linking, okay? Also for posting content with direct links. Just think of like TikTok Shop, but this is a different type of platform. It's Like to Know It. So I've got accepted into that in the past year. I have become an Amazon associate in the past year. Amazing. I love that because it's so much easier to link stuff now. I have a whole Amazon storefront, which I'm a designer by nature. So you know that anytime I get into something, I'm going to design it, right? So love that. What that does for me is it makes that something that I can help someone else with. So because I have it, now I can navigate it and make money from helping somebody else, right? So that's the beauty of that. I've also have my website up and going. I have made money from that. I have, you know, different e-guides and different things like that. People have been buying them. My blog is up. While I'm not as consistent as I want to be, the pieces are quality. And so they are really, really helpful. Love that. Trying to think what else. And my website is GoDaddy. That's when I finally landed on. I have done all of them, honey. Wix, Squarespace, you name it. Strikingly, I didn't build on all of them. But the one that I stick with right now is GoDaddy because it's the most convenient for me. It's affordable, it's effective, and I've made sales. So we like that. The next thing I'm trying to think, what else happened? YouTube. Hello. So YouTube is going really well. I became a YouTube partner. So that's cool. Still growing, right? What are my goals on here? My goals on YouTube are to be monetized through AdSense and also my own products. While I would love some video sponsorships, I'm very picky about that and brands that I work with. So it's most likely that I'll be reaching out to the brands, not them to me, because I don't want to work with every brand. So I will have to work on pitching as time goes on, but I wanted to build the platform first, right? So that's been fun. It's been fun curating this YouTube channel, and this is what I want to create. What you see here on YouTube, this is it. This is the stuff I love creating. Pharmacy, nursing, skincare. That's it. Like I said, I will probably add some more stuff as time goes on, but even these lives, this is a new thing, and I like this. So, you know, I have a membership too, which I haven't put anything into, but I'm strongly thinking about putting all of my lives into my membership because I think they're really beneficial and helpful, and I think that, you know, it could be a source of monetization. Not too much. Okay, it's, you know, $4, but yeah, we'll see. I'm trying to think. That's the thing, the YouTube partner program too, because but YouTube partner is because I had 3,000 watch hours, working my way up to 4,000 watch hours. But YouTube gives you a plethora of things to do when you are at that 3,000 hours. You can sell things. You can put things in your video. Okay, like if I had an e-guide right now, which I probably will put it up somewhere in this video, you can do that with a program called Fourth Wall. So behind the scenes, what the girls are not telling you about is that there are many things to do to make an income before getting to that 4,000 watch hours. You don't have to just wait for that AdSense. You can be making that AdSense money off your own product because they allow you to do things like that. I can even get, like, I'm going live right now. People can give me money right now if they wanted to. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there are different ways to do things. So anyway, yeah, I can't complain. And then over on TikTok, that's going extremely well as well. I love that. My TikTok podcast, the mini nursing podcast, is going really well. My Patreon is slow to grow, but it's okay because I'm slow to create over there on Patreon. So it's fine where it's sitting now. It has some content over there. It's for nursing students. It's cool. I'm trying to think what else do I have. So the website, the Patreon, the TikTok. Okay, so the thing that I am focusing on next week, we're going to focus next week on Instagram. I have gotten some tips from some creators. We're going to use them. It's going to be difficult because one thing about me, while I am a very patient person, I'm not a very patient person. They say two things to be true at the same time. I can be patient on a lot of things. When I'm ready, when I see what I know can happen, like when I am imagining what I know can happen, I want to see it happen. So I want to see that post give me 100 followers, right? That has not happened yet. And so I know what I have to do to get there. I know what it takes. I do. I just have to actually do it. So I think for the rest of the month, I'll be working on Instagram. I'll be still posting here. I'm going to figure out too if I want to do like the lives once a week. But on Instagram, I'm going to have to really wake up the algorithm. I am. And not just one post a day. And I have to do something different than what I'm doing. I'm going to have to do a little pivot. So this weekend, I'll be writing that plan out. Like I wrote this plan out for these lives. I'll be writing that plan out for Instagram. And you can come along for the ride. You can follow me on Instagram if you're not already there. But that's what I plan on doing. I said, 7 days and however many posts per day. So we're going to have to make it happen. And yeah. So that's what I'm in the process of doing this weekend. Of course, doing my other stuff too. I do volunteer work on the weekend and spend time with family and friends and shop, But in addition to that, I will be doing my Instagram strategy for my 7-day algorithm resurrection. Because right now it is like, girl, we don't know who you are. We don't know what you want to do. You was a website designer 5 years ago. Now you doing makeup. Like, we don't know what are you doing? So I'm gonna have to reintroduce myself to the algorithm, not the audience, the algorithm. So yeah. Anyway, it's been fun talking to you guys. It's been 42 whole minutes. We have talked. We have gone through the things. I have answered the questions. We've had the conversations. Hope you guys really enjoyed the live. Thanks for coming. I hope you guys are subscribed to the channel. And, if there's anything that I can help with, comment. Let me know. But until then, hope you guys have a productive and peaceful rest of your day. And I will see you on the internet. All right? All right, let's turn this thing off. All right, let's see.